Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
How have the last few years been for you, obviously with the pandemic and everything, from a musical side and a personal side? Like, has it been it's obviously been quite a shit time, so.
Well, I think it's the same for everybody. The pandemic didn't really do anybody any favors. And if you're in a business, which band would fall into, then obviously your business pretty much shut down for a certain amount of time. We were in the middle of recording our record. So for us, it
Oh,
was like, not
no.
only do we have to stop, but we have to stop production on our record. And we had recorded half of it. And then the pandemic hit, and we sat for over a year and a half before we were able to get back to work on the record. So that was a big problem for us in terms of, you know, making a record. It kind of, there was such an unknown factor when we were there. We didn't know how long this would go on for. Is it going to be months? Is it going to be years? So, a lot of times, people just kind of shut down. And so a lot of us just stopped working, stopped doing everything. So it really didn't help the band at all. But once the pandemic started to end, and we realized, okay, we could go back to Europe again, we could play again, we could get back to our record. And then, now we just got back from Europe and everything seems completely fine and back to normal again. We ended up finishing the record. Everything was fine. But let's just say the pandemic wasn't the greatest time in my life or anybody's life. And I think we can all relate.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what was the original plan then? Obviously, have you just moved it 3 years later, or was there a big?
Well, we started recording in 2018, and in our minds, we were going to come out with the record in 2020.
Okay.
It got pushed back almost 3 years because of the pandemic. And then not only that, but the studio we recorded it in had moved during that time to a remote place in Switzerland, Lausanne. So it started getting harder to get there, more expensive to get there. So it was a very difficult album, probably the hardest album we ever made, but it's done and we're extremely happy with the final result.
Lovely stuff. If you're happy for me to go, I want to go back even further, Dave. I want to go back to the beginning, if that's okay with you. Like,
sure. What
actually got you into music in the first place? What actually made you go, this is what I want to do as a career?
Probably seeing, Gene Simmons of Kiss and Steve from I'm sorry. So I'm thinking of Kiss, Iron Maiden, and Rush were the three bands. Steve Harris and Geddy Lee. Those are the three bass players that made me like want to play music. And I was just playing in local bands, playing covers of those songs. And it wasn't my real goal to become a full-time musician or be in a band. I didn't expect that at all. But when I started playing live and got that bug, and then I got seen by the guys in Mucky Pup and they asked me to join. And then I realized, okay, now I'm on another level. I'm recording albums and I'm touring Europe. I love this. This is what I want to do. And it really, by the time I was 18, I was kind of feeling like this was the path I would be on. But prior to that, I was just a musician that liked playing in bands, but I didn't know what I was going to do in my life and it never had a goal. So I think music kind of saved me from total oblivion or I don't know what would have ended up doing, but I really didn't want to be a businessman or, some kind of, office worker. I knew that wasn't for me.
No.
So it worked out.
And beautifully, might I add as well. I mean, Maiden, Kiss, and whatnot are very, very different to the style that Dog Eat Dog are. So, like, did they influence you in any way? Did they influence? Well, where did the influences come from?
Well, the influence. I was always a heavy metal kid, so hearing those bands and understanding that these bands have a bass player, which I am, so that's what really got me to it. But then when I met John in 1985, our lead singer, him and I bonded instantly over music. Metallica and Megadeth and DRI and Slayer, Suicidal Tendencies, all the bands that were like kind of emerging in the mid 80s in this new wave of thrash metal and hardcore punk. I was so excited about that. And when I met John, he was on that same place. So music brought me and John together as friends. And then we ended up forming this band together. And even though those bands may not be heard within the actual songs of Dog Eat Dog, the influence of those bands is kind of the common thread, and music in general. We love the same kind of bands. And even though Dog Eat Dog doesn't sound like that, deep within, those roots are there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know a lot of bands hate this question, but I always like this question because I like to find out what came before. Where did the name come from?
So Dog Eat Dog is a common expression, which means you'll do whatever you have to do to survive. So we thought, hey, that's like, at the time in 1990, that sounds like a good, like, kind of tough name. There was no internet, so we couldn't look up, is there another band called Dog Eat Dog? We don't know, but we liked it. Also, AC/DC has a song called Dog Eat Dog. Adam and the Ants had a song called Dog Eat Dog. And those were bands that we liked. And so it just, the name felt familiar and good to us. So we kept it. And that's it. You know, not a huge story, but it was just one of those things where we went through 50 names of a band. Nothing felt right. And then when Dog Eat Dog was tossed in the mix, it felt like the right thing.
What can you remember in the previous ones?
One was called F Troop, like the letter F Troop.
Yeah.
One was called B Load, like the letter B and then load. And one was called 5 Day Forecast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so those were three that I can remember off the top of my head that were thrown around. And obviously, we played one show under the band F Troop. And then we came up with Dog Eat Dog. So we did one show as F Troop.
That's incredible. I mean,
no one knows that.
Oh, well, there we go. That's sort of an exclusive in a way. You were one of the earliest bands to fuse the hardcore punk scene with rap music. What sort of inspired that sort of style?
I think it was really John and his style of vocals. He felt more comfortable rapping than singing. So we didn't really have a set. We never said, all right, we're going to form a band that's going to have rap style. It was just, we're going to form a band and we're going to play whatever we want. And when John started singing, the groove of the drum beat led him to do a more rap style. So we were like, okay, that works and it feels right for us. You know, we were really into the Beastie Boys at the time. And like, this is 1990. Everybody was dabbling in rap at the time and like funky slap bass and stuff like that, you know? So like, we were just kind of not following a trend, but just doing what felt right to us. And we were also really into metal and hardcore and reggae and everything. So we really kind of just were able to toss in whatever we wanted. Nobody was saying no to anything. And when you have a band full of members that are all open and saying yes all the time, you end up with a mix like we had. You know, there was no one leader of the band saying this is the sound. It was dictated by everybody's love of different music. So everyone had a voice and everyone had something to say, and Dog Eat Dog sound is what we ended up with.
No, it's incredible. It's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, your brand new album, which we talked about at the very beginning, is obviously out October 20th, obviously titled Free Radicals, and you've been sat on it for years. Are you excited to finally get it out there?
So excited. It's like you're holding on to a secret for so long, and now you can finally let it out to people, you know? And it's good because this was the hardest album that I ever made with Dog Eat Dog in terms of just the length it took to make it and the amount of work that went into it. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of sitting in a hot rehearsal room writing material. And then we wrote the whole thing in Prague.
Wow.
Yeah. So we sat in Prague for weeks working on it, which is a great place to be. But it was a lot. It wasn't just one session. It was back and forth, constantly going to Prague and working. And then when we started recording, like I said, it was multiple studios working in and bit by bit, you know, so we didn't have the songs all finished by the time we started making them. So you do as much as you can, and then using computers to edit, and then, you know, coming up with last minute ideas, you know, the songs get finished in the studio. But when it was finally done, I felt so good about it. It had a great positive energy, and everybody who's heard it has liked it. And not only that, but everybody likes something different, which is great. It's not just here's single 1 and single 2 and a bunch of filler. It's like 14 songs that all have their own personality. And some people are like, that's my favorite, that's my favorite, that's my favorite. I'm like, that's awesome, because everybody can connect to something different. There's mellow songs, there's heavy songs, there's old style traditional Dog Eat Dog songs. So there's something for everybody.
No, I absolutely agree with you, because I found it really difficult to pick a favorite, because there's so many different styles, genres in there, and I was like, it's hard to get, they say it's not all the same all the way through. So they lit up the single that you released is absolutely incredible. I loved At Joe's. Who is Joe?
So that's a true story. If you look at the record we did in 1999 called Amped,
yeah,
I have all the notes from the record Amp, and at one point there's a thing that says ideas for songs, and one says At Joe's. So I know that John had this idea for this song over 20 years ago, and we just never made it until now. So he had a neighbor named Joe who had like kind of a crack house, and it was like, if you look at the lyrics of the song, it's basically just about this kind of like crack house, party house that was across the street from where John lived. So he was watching this go down every year for years, and was like, I'm going to write a song about this funny crack house that Joe owns, and that's the song At Joe's. And we it was a throwback to like funky style of music, something a little more groovy, funky, and something along the lines of Whatever Man from the Amped record, or Fun Lovin' from the Walk With Me record. Every record we have one of these kind of funky songs on it, and this is the new one.
That's it. So lyrics wise, then obviously it's based on true events sort of thing, or can some songs be quite personal as well?
Yeah. John is in charge of the lyrics. So, he writes from personal experience. And, if any of us have ideas we want to throw in, we're open. We are allowed to. It's not like it's only John and whatever, but I love what he does. So I rarely have a problem with his lyrics. I pretty much go along with everything that he writes. It feels right to me.
Incredible. Like, you've released singles Never Give In and Lit Up, like I mentioned. Have these been well received?
Yeah, so far, especially Never Give In. Everybody feels like it's a throwback to the old style of Dog Eat Dog from the 90s. And that's what it was made for. That was one of my ideas for the album. And I going in, I said, this is like an old style Dog Eat Dog song from the beginning. So we knew we were going to have a very diverse record, and we didn't want to alienate everybody, especially our old fans. So there are a couple songs on the record that we look at as like, this is the kind of old style Dog Eat Dog mixed with new style Dog Eat Dog. So you're going to get a little of everything. This was the kind of gift to the old school fans.
Absolutely. I mean, do you find it difficult to pick what should be a single, though? Obviously, with how diverse it is.
Well, the record label has something to do with that, where they'll give their outside opinion. These are the songs we like. And then we'll sit down with them and say, well, these are the songs we like. And then hopefully they match. And if they don't match, then we kind of give our argument for what we think is right, or we'll take somebody else's, opinion and factor that in. So the next single was definitely a record company choice. So the next single's Man's Best Friend.
Oh,
and the label loved that song. So we said, okay, we want to do Lit Up and Never Give In, and we'll do Man's Best Friend for you. But we want the fourth single to be what we want, which is Bar Down.
Oh, stellar. I mean, the whole album is fantastic. In my opinion, is absolutely fantastic anyway. And I'm excited for people to hear it when it comes out. But what actually sets this album apart from all the others?
I find it similar in a lot of ways, where I if I told people, hey, it's not like, if you listen to Play Games, Amped, and Walk With Me, it's kind of a similar trajectory where we're kind of doing whatever we want. I think on this record, the biggest notable thing is the lack of saxophone. So that has become one of our trademarks, but out of 14 songs, there's only 3 with saxophone. So instead of sax, we added keyboard elements to some things that we wanted to try. So I think that's the big difference. Is if you're going in expecting saxophone, you'll probably wonder where's the sax on this. But I mean, songwriting wise, it wasn't much different than everything we've done in the past. We just have ideas and we just follow them through. But I think the mellow songs, there's 3 very mellow songs, Zamboni, Bar Down, and One Thing. And that's unusual. I think we haven't had an album where we've kind of brought it down to a slower tempo, or brought the distortion on the guitars down as much. And that was, for me, that was a tough place, because I didn't think it was going to be right for the record. I thought this is too mellow and it's not going to work. But as you make the songs and then you hear them being crafted in the studio, you realize, hey, this is really good. So whether it's a heavy song or a fast song or not, a good song is a good song. And that's all I want for a Dog Eat Dog record. Just good songs that stick in your head and you find yourself singing when you're not even listening to the record. And I feel all the songs on this record have that kind of catchiness. But we've done that with all our records. I don't think we've ever put out a record that didn't pass my quality control, which is, every song has to be good or we're throwing it out, Whereas something like Play Games, we recorded the record and we didn't have enough songs. So we had to go and make something like Buggin', which wasn't even supposed to be a song, but just a space filler. We didn't have any of that on this record.
No, the other 2 I picked out were Black Cloud. I believe that's how with the V's in.
Yeah.
And I got E1-on-1.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely loved that as well.
Cool. Again, though, but E1-on-1 was thrown around as a single idea, but it got kind of, you have a certain amount of choices and that's it. But Black Cloud is like our fast hardcore. That was my song, like my style. And, I was able to get a couple of my faster, more hardcore sounding songs on the record. And, that one was only a minute long, but it was that burst of energy I felt like the record could use. And the lyrics were kind of based on me and my tendency to sometimes get down on certain aspects of things. And, they used to call me Black Cloud back in the day, but I'm not a Black Cloud anymore. But it's just another one of those funny things that Dog Eat Dog has said over the years so many times. Don't be a black cloud. Don't black cloud. And we thought now's the time to write our song about it.
No, it's great. Absolutely.
And the other one you were saying was E1-on-1.
E1-on-1,
Again, that's John's lyrical idea. Everyone's on one. And I thought it was a brilliant idea about, doesn't matter what you're on something, whether it's coffee or cigarettes, you're still on something, So it was a cool idea. And that was really Roger's kind of more idea musically. So, again, it's hard to pick singles when you like every song.
Yeah, no, I definitely found that because and they're also different as well. So you love them for different reasons. But you're also embarking on a massive European tour the week after it comes out as well, starting in Copenhagen. Excited for that?
Very excited, because not only do we get to play in clubs where we're headlining and we can play as long as we want and play whatever songs we want, it can be a lot looser. When you play festivals, you have 45 minutes or 50 minutes, and then you have to say, well, if we're playing a metal festival, what kind of songs should we play? But with a headlining show, we have total freedom, and we're bringing 2 bands we love, Grove Street, who are awesome, from the UK, and Kings Never Die, they're ex-band members of ours and friends of ours. So it's going to be like family being on the road. And we're playing in major cities. We got a new record. All the bands have new records. So I feel like it's going to be a very exciting trip, and we're going to be able to reconnect with so many friends and share new music. And that's what makes it the most exciting. We'll have all new merchandise, everything. So it'll feel real fresh and new for everybody.
Do you struggle to make a set list with the amount of songs that in the albums that you have now? Do you struggle to make a setup?
It can sometimes be an argument. John is in charge of making the set list, so we usually let him do it, and then he'll show it to us and generally say, anybody got a problem with this or not? And once in a while, somebody will have a problem. I don't like the song we're opening with, or I don't want to end with that one, or hey, I want to play this song tonight. So we do discuss it, but generally speaking, we got maybe 65 songs to choose from, and we can play maybe 15. So, you're going to have to cut out a bunch. And, when you put all your hits first, all the ones you got to play, you're only left over with 6 or 7 songs you can really put in. So there's not a lot to choose from. So making the set list is generally not that difficult. It's like all the hits, and then what do you feel like playing tonight?
Yeah.
And we change it up every night. So if we play 2 cities in the same region, we're not going to play the same set in both of them exactly the same. We'll switch it up. So we're pretty conscious about where we are when we're playing.
That's awesome. Any chance to bring it to the UK? Are we allowed to talk?
UK is very, very important to us, but we can't come there unless we're asked by a promoter to come there. People don't understand. It's not just, hey, let's play in the UK. We need somebody to bring us there and promote us and put us in a venue. And that doesn't happen from the band. That happens from a promoter going to our booking agent and it working out. So a lot of fans want to have Dog Eat Dog in the UK, and we want to be there too. We just need a promoter in the middle.
Noted. I'll write that down, Dave.
Thank you.
And finally, a question I like to ask all musicians because I'm always intrigued. Music videos, love them or hate them? The making of them, that is.
In the 90s, when we were doing music videos, we actually had a pretty large budget, and we were shooting on 35 millimeter film. So they were like movies, and they had big budgets. So we were able to do a lot with it. We were able to hire people and get them in, and making videos was pretty fun because it was like all I was the actor in the video. Everything else was being done. Nowadays, it's do-it-yourself style. So like for this new album, the record label's like, okay, we have basically no budget for a video. You can make your own video, or we'll make lyric videos for you. And we decided, well, we don't really want a lyric video. That's kind of a cop-out. So how can we make our own videos? And with Never Give In, it was great because we had just played these big festivals, and the festivals had these pro cameras. Hey, how can we get this footage and edit it into a video? And we did it, and it looks like $1 million shoot. If we had to pay for cameras to move around like that, it would have been really expensive, but we got lucky. With the Lit Up video, we pulled it together within 48 hours. That video there was no video idea until 2 days before, but our tour manager was able to make some calls, get the location from the wrestling training center in Essen, Germany. And he was able to call in some pro wrestlers and some friends. And hey, we threw it all together, and we got a great editor back in New Jersey. And we made this video on our own. And it's fun, but when you're doing it on your own, it's so much more work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you're in charge of everything. When we were making it with Roadrunner money and budget, all we had to do was be in it and then look at the final product and say, do you like the edit or not? And yeah, so it was a lot easier to make videos. Now it's definitely a lot more work. We're making the Man's Best Friend video right now, and it's a fan video. Everybody from fans, including yourself, if you want to have your dog in it, it's all about fans and their dogs. So Right now on the Dog Eat Dog Instagram stories is the link to post your video of your dog, and you can be in our video. Friday's the cutoff. So that's how we're making videos these days. We're doing it ourselves, and it's fun because we know we made it, but it's a lot of work. But we're willing to make that work because we believe in this album.
Yeah, and absolutely, because it's incredible. How were the festival shows, by the way?
Everything went so well this summer. We were extremely well received, and we played so much new songs that, we thought maybe people were going to be bored, but we keep hearing that we love the new songs. We love the new songs. So I think it worked out really well this year. Good promo and great audience.
We definitely love to do that. I'm going to trust that we need to get you in the UK, Dave. We need to get you over here because
I would love to be there.
It's been a long time. It'd be just great to see you guys. So, but thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best with the brand new record. It comes out on October 20th. Free Radicals. Everyone, make sure you stream it when it comes out on the 20th. And hopefully we'll get you over here soon.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website, www.therazorsedge.rocks.